call the meeting to order. If everyone can please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll. Mrs. Shumway.
Present.
Mr. Gertz.
Yes.
Mr. Warndorf.
Present.
All right, first item of business is to approve or amend meeting minutes.
That's for May 12th.
May 12th.
May 12th.
Second. Motion, we have a second. Mr. Warndorf.
Yes.
Mr. Gertz.
Yes.
Mrs. Shumway.
Yes.
All right, next up is our volunteer of the month, Mike McGuire. Come on up, Mike.
Mike.
Yes, on.
Here, let's go to the podium.
Oh.
I know, but leave it there. So Mike McGuire, Volunteer of the Month for May of 2015. Mike is a volunteer with a wide variety of involvement. In the month of May alone, he assisted in several Nature Scopes binocular blitzes to enrich the nature experience of Geauga's 5th graders, and also connected with students and visitors during unique observatory park offerings. Additionally, Mike, the canoe rescue volunteer, ensured safe programs for all at the Polywog Paddle Family Canoe Float, and a special, and I had to learn how to pronounce this one, warbler correctly, Prothonotary Warbler Canoe Program. So you can tell us a little bit about that. Mike contributes a passionate knowledge to his choice of programs and demonstrates a year-round dedication to Geauga Park District and its visitors. And we would like to thank you, Mike, for all of your dedication.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the recognition. I appreciate it very much, but I have to say that without the people leading the programs, our naturalists, and without the support of all the other volunteers, I wouldn't be up here. The Parks does a heck of a good job with programs, I think, and that's one of the reasons that I like to spend time because of the people and what goes on here at the Parks. That's why I like to spend time here. Mrs. Shumway asked me to talk about the prothonotary warbler. This is an example where it really wouldn't be there if Dan Vest didn't take this canoe out and put out about 40 ex-Metamucil bottles as nest boxes for the prothonotary warbler. So that we have these wonderful birds up and down the Geauga River there in the vicinity of Eldon Russell Park, so that we can hear and see them easily from our canoes and now our kayaks. Thank you very much for funding our kayaks. This little bit of the story behind the prothonotary warblers, but without Dan's efforts, you might see one a year. This way we can go out there and see 3 or 4 every time we go out. Thank you again very much.
Do we have a
Cub Scout captain.
representative here from Cub Scouts Act
You
92?
did, I was going to say.
Here he is. The Park District would like to recognize Cub Scout Pack 92. You must be the scout leader.
I'm assistant.
All right. For its dedicated help in weeding the flower beds around the Meyer Center. I'm sure as you have come and gone to the center, you've noticed how nice the flower beds look. Pack 92's assistance exemplifies the Cub Scout promise and law to serve their country and to give good. How many young men do you have in your pack?
45.
That's a lot of leaders.
It is.
Right now.
They're busy. They stay busy.
Well, We're very grateful for their efforts as we are of yours. Thank you very much.
This is going to be awarded to the Cargill Corporation, and it's another one of those distinctions that I really enjoy. Because what they did, we took our own seeds, propagated them, handed them to them, they planted them, mulched them. It was great. So, without further ado, I'll say that the Geauga Park District recognizes Cargill Corporation as a partner in conservation for planting 125 tree seedlings for restoration. The seeds were collected at the park last year and propagated by Geauga Park District. These volunteers also spread 10 yards of mulch around the previously planted trees, increasing their survivability to support the ongoing reforestation and restoration of Orchard Hills Park. So if I could have the representative from Cargill come up.
Steve Allison.
It's been our pleasure to bring people from Cargill to work in the Geauga Park District. I do appreciate, or express my appreciation for the opportunity to work in the park. Yeah, always been fun.
It's an ongoing process. We hope to keep you on board for years.
Yeah.
Okay, now we can open to the public. We have adjusted the agenda for those of you that made a public information request in advance of the meeting, and for those that did not, we've adjusted the agenda, which the bylaws allow for, to do the open to the public at this point. So I'm going to ask you to come to the podium, and again, if you could give your name, and you don't need to give your street address, but the township that you're from, and if people can keep it to about 3 minutes, and I'm going to try to keep this to 30 minutes, but we'll see what happens.
Mr. Ruggles.
Good morning. Ed Buckles from Troy Township. The prothonotary is a beautiful, beautiful little bird. Bright yellow with those blue wings, and it's always in a dark area, and it just glows. It's a wonderful, wonderful program. I want to try to stay in my 3 minutes, but the commercial for the prothonotary is always in order. Congratulations, Ms. Shelly. I understand you've taken a new position with the probate court, and I'm sure you'll do fine there. We look forward to that. I'd like to talk about 2 emails that I received today. They're sort of interesting, one bothersome and one amusing in its context. Ms. Shumway and I have had an ongoing discussion because I was originally scheduled to have 20 minutes at this meeting, and she abruptly canceled this, saying that no more public presentations were going to be allowed for that sort of time. I find that disturbing. As much as I might disagree with the mountain bike people, they deserve a chance to be heard. Every group deserves a chance to be heard before this organization. I see Bass Lake is on the agenda. Good for you. You certainly deserve to be heard for your issues. There are other folks out there that I think deserve to be heard. And to foreclose public presentations to me seems undemocratic and violates the principle of the open open meetings, of the public being allowed to address its concerns to a public body. The first email I got this morning was from Ms. Shumway, who, in response to an email from me, said that she did not want to meet with the Protect Geauga Parks folks because she did not recognize them. I would point out that the state of Ohio recognizes us. They gave us a certificate of incorporation. The IRS recognizes us. They gave us a tax exempt certificate. We have over 500 people who follow us regularly and comment on our Facebook and other pages. We have been recognized by the Natural History Museum, by Black Swan Bird Observatory, by a number of environmental organizations in the community. And then the second email that I find somewhat amusing in context, the Honorable Judge Timothy J. Grindell sent several of our members an email this morning soliciting our aid as individuals and as a group in resisting House Bill 8, which certainly ought to be done. But it seems to me that whether a group has gone to the effort to incorporate or to obtain tax forms, you violate the trust of your office by deliberately ignoring any public group that wants to speak to us about park issues. And, having said that, Mr. Andre, if I depart early, it is not because I have lost interest, it's because I am not trying to imitate LeBron James. I actually hurt my elbow and I'm in a fair amount of pain. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Is this still public comment period? Or?
Yes.
Oh, I'd like to say a few
Yes.
words if I may. Okay. My name is John Augustine. I'm a Parkland Township resident. I'm also a member of Protect Geauga Parks on the board. I'd like to, an issue that's come up for the last 3 or 4 months has been Pine Brook Preserve. And there was some comment by Mr. Andre last month regarding some looking into the legalities of people being on the property from the parks or from who has the right to be on the property. And I still haven't got an answer. Is the park allowed park personnel? Have they been on the property at all, or have they not been allowed? Can somebody give me an answer to that? Rumor has it that they were not allowed on the property. John, can you clarify?
I was going to say, Dave, can you clarify for us the legality of the park district being on the Pinehurst property? We reviewed this at the last meeting.
Yeah, I think the core theme I was trying to get at was that whether or not there was an obligation on the park district's part to regularly inspect and investigate and things like that, and came to the conclusion that there is no current obligation, and it doesn't kick in until the responsibility for eradication of certain native plants turns over to us after a certain number of years that we perform our Veterans Foundation. So in the meantime, the Park District has, under the conservation agreement, the right to enforce the terms of it, which would arguably permit some kind of inspections, periodic inspections. I would advise that they cannot be too intrusive. They can't be so frequent that it would put the landies who have a management contract in a position to argue that we're exceeding our rights under that agreement. So I do not know the answer, John, as to whether or not, or the frequency of current inspections. I'm
park districts under no obligation to inspect it at the current time. They have the right to conduct 4 programs a year, as you know there. But other than that, they're not obligated at the moment to otherwise be coming on the property.
Okay, thanks, Mr. You know, I just, as the owners of the property, just as you own, as the park district is the owner of the other parcels, I think you have an obligation to keep an eye on it and to make sure it's properly careful. There were, I copied some material from the parks files on time, but there's a management agreement that was between the park and the land use. There's an agreement with the Ohio Wetlands Foundation, and then there's also an environmental covenant. But just to point out a couple of things, in the management agreement, the agreement between the park and the land use, it says the park district, the owner, which is the park district, shall limit its use of the property to environmental studies, assessment, and investigations consistent with the owner's duties pursuant to the agreement between the owner and Ohio Wetlands Foundation. So that leaves it pretty open, it seems to me, as far as the park keeping an eye and making sure. Let's look then at the wetlands agreement. Here's what it says. Ohio Wetlands shall be solely responsible for compliance with the requirements of the Pine Brook Mitigation Plan, including the preparation of all required monitoring reports and implementation of any required legal activity. And that would apply to invasive plants that need to be controlled. It says solely responsible. It doesn't say solely responsible for monitoring. So obviously I think as the owner, the park district should be monitoring it, and hopefully they are. Like I say, I brought it up because I don't know. This originally came up as an issue regarding trapping. And in this agreement between the Wetlands Foundation and the park, it says the park district shall, this is obligations of the park district, the park district shall not take, direct, or allow any action that is inconsistent with the Pine Brook Mitigation Plan, the environmental covenant, or the preservation of wetlands and related natural resources on the Pine Brook site. So just that paragraph there alone, if the park district should be keeping a pretty close eye on the property in order to make sure we're following those obligations. And there were a couple of other things there. They're required to, the park district is required to an annual establishment of a ruffed grouse habitat management area. I don't know how the park district can do it unless people are allowed. Have they been doing that to going on the property to make sure, for management of ruffed grouse, to give specifications?
We'll let you finish your comments.
Okay.
And then we'll take your comments
I was
into
gonna say-
consideration.
You've got 1 more minute.
Okay.
John, I think what you're doing is you're reviewing all the management plans, and I think what you're asking, correct me if I'm wrong, is if in fact the park district leadership is monitoring the parks, and yes, they are.
Is there any limit? It seemed that there was a rumor that people weren't allowed on the property.
There's a lot of rumors going around.
Is that true or not? Maybe we can clarify the rumor right now if that's not true.
What do you mean that people aren't allowed on the property? That the park district staff is allowed on the property?
Okay, so there's no limitations then?
There might be limitations in-house as to certain staff members not needing to go over there and having other assigned duties, but that's different. That's park management.
Okay.
Mr. Augustine, do you have a particular anxiety about the management of the land use Pine Brook properties
I guess
that you wish to bring to our attention?
I guess it's the philosophy. It seems like this may well be a property that park people have not been allowed on. I'm not really sure. And I think as the holders of the property, the owners of the property, they should be keeping a close eye on it to make sure there's not, that things are being done correctly there. And it shouldn't be a private, it shouldn't be the land these private hunting and fishing land, you know what I mean, where the park is, us citizens paid for it, and they should be getting all, the land you should be getting all benefits for 40 years or whatever.
But that was only a rumor.
Well, let's clarify. That's why I keep asking. This is the third month I brought up the issue, and I have no clarification as to, you know, I mean.
We've been on the private property, John, as management.
Okay, I guess that's all for me.
Any other questions, comments? Yes, this gentleman.
Hi, my name's Frank Jacobson. I'm a South Russell resident. I wonder how many beaver, muskrat, and other animals were taken this past January and February. If we had a number, how many?
You do have a report in that regard.
That comes later on.
And if we may, can we respond to that
Sure.
issue here? Because
We
we did get something that delineates the exact numbers that you're looking for.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. And the lady in the red, please.
Shelly Cherin from Russell, and I would just like to thank John Augustine because we are so fortunate to have somebody take an interest in our parklands, take the time and make the effort to read through those management agreements. Boy, I sure would want to do that, and so I want to thank John. I don't think he gets enough thanks. I took a look at the amendments to the proposed bylaws, and they look good to me. I appreciate that the board made those amendments and that you're bringing your procedures for notification of meetings in compliance with the Ohio Open Meetings laws. And I think that the amendments that you made, that I presume you're going to be considering later in this meeting, accomplish that. But I did see in the board packet some other bylaws change proposals. I don't know if you're going to talk about those today or not. There's not enough information in the packet for me to know that. But they made me pretty angry. These proposed changes relate to public comment. It's not the actual comment of the changes, which put the 3-minute limit into writing that anger me, but it's the disdainful tone that they set. The board, which recently has had very little consistency in membership, has amended the bylaws more times in the last year and a half than it did in 20 years prior to that. Most of these recent amendments have been rash reactions to transitory situations in the moment of the amendment. They've not been carefully considered changes to a document that's going to guide the actions of the district for decades to come. And what tone do you set by incorporating a 3-minute limit in public comments? You tell us, the public, that you don't really want to hear from us, that you'll do us a favor and hold your noses for a few minutes while we speak, unless, of course, the board president wants to allow extra time for a friend or for someone who agrees with the direction the district is going. We already understand the reasons for, and we respect your 3-minute time limit. Your bylaws and informal meeting rules are working just fine. The only reason I can think of for amending the bylaws regarding the public comment time is to send the public a message. By codifying a time limit for public comment in the bylaws, you give the impression that the public will be tolerated and managed, but not welcomed. You're saying to the public that you don't really want us here. I was one of the speakers at the League of Women Voters Forum on the parks. I was deeply disappointed that the district chose not to participate in that event. What a great opportunity to have a public discussion, but you all avoid public discussion like the plague. You don't want to talk about what the public really wants, what purpose park districts serve, which is our disagreement. You snub League of Women Voters, And that civic organization is actually directly responsible for there being a park district. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, read your history. I think you're scared of the conversation about the mission and the purpose of the parks. I think you know that the minority is in power now, and that the minority is pushing through changes in the park district that the majority of the public doesn't want. And if that isn't true, then I simply don't understand why you're not thrilled to have, look at all these people that have interested and intelligent members of the community who want to participate in the park district. Most of the public bodies I know would be ecstatic to have anyone come to their meetings. Most of them have nobody come. You are so lucky to have so many Geauga County residents who love the parks and want to engage in this manner of civic importance. But instead of thanking us, instead of thanking John Augustine, you continually attempt to alienate, control, and strong-arm to push through an agenda contrary to what the public overwhelmingly voted for in the last park levy, and to turn a jewel of conservation, a park system that was respected throughout the country, into just another run-of-the-mill metro park.
My name is Diane Jones from Auburn Township. Most of you know who I am. This will be a short comment that I wanted to share with everyone in this room, and simply to relate to folks that my husband and I were fortunate enough to be able to take our horses out to Beartown. This was a weekend in May. We were delighted to see the playground equipment being utilized by a lot of children. And they were particularly fond of the tether ball, and as those folks came up to share our horses with us, there was a lady who was part of the group, and she was very, very effusive with her praise. She thought it was a wonderful park, and that she and her family were having a great experience from day. That's all. It made our day. We were happy to share our horses and to know that the facilities were being well used. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Okay, let's go on and move to financial statements. Michelle.
You have before you the financial statements for the month of May. We began the month in the general fund with $7,543,051.52. Expenditures for the month totaled $537,326.60. There were 3 pays in that month, hence why the increase in the expenditures. The revenue was $28,583.44. Ending balance $7,034,308.36.
Michelle, could you clarify, under gifts and donations, what the acronym OP stands for?
OP is Observatory Park.
Oh, okay.
The CHI is Chip Henry Institute.
Okay.
In the land improvement fund, we began the month with $3,178,026.83, expenditures of $3,500, revenue of $684.36, ending with $3,175,211.19. Retirement reserve account began $82,453.64, $4.12 in interest, ending the month at $82,000.